Welcome to Chemistry 1305, and if you're taking the lab component as well, Chemistry 1105. My name is Dr. Stevenson, and I will be your instructor for this semester. Well, I guess I can dispense with all of the verbiage of telling you how great chemistry is, because you already know that. Chemistry is a study of matter, so literally everything you have and deal with and are is chemistry. Phones made of chemicals. Even your little brother and sister and you. It's all made of chemicals. Look at the periodic chart. Everything you can think of is made from some combination, some arrangement of those few elements. So just like every complex thought in every book can be made from 26 letters of the alphabet, everything you can think of, chemistry can make with the elements that are on the periodic chart. So you already know it's really useful. It's really cool stuff. Now, taking an intro class that talks about how that works, that may not be quite as interesting. But that's where you are. I think it is interesting, and we'll see what you make of it. Now, one thing I do want to say right off the bat, so we're all on the same page, is that although this is an introductory chemistry course, it is nevertheless a college-level chemistry course. And as such, I'm going to treat you like college students. Don't mean this to come across as too harsh, but this is not high school chemistry. It's not going to be run like that. I am going to treat each of you like adults who are prepared, both willing and able, to attend college-level course. And so what's going to happen is in this video, I'm going to give you a lot of instructions and explain to you how it works. And I'm going to expect you to have watched the video and to adhere to the rules and the guidelines. I was in industry for 22 years, and just so you know, I'm going to run this class kind of like a manager in industry does a group. You're going to have assignments and things you're supposed to do, and it's understood you're going to turn them in on time and properly so. In industry, my boss never begged me to do my job. When I was given an assignment, it was expected that I would do it on time and do it well. And if I needed any help or resources, I would go to him to make sure I could meet the deadline and the quality standard. And that's exactly how this course is going to be run. So if you have the impression this is going to be like the 13th grade of high school, you're going to be very disappointed. I will assure you. On the other hand, I think you will enjoy the college experience. And I think you are both going to enjoy and need to experience a course that's going to get you prepared for continuing your education into a sophomore or maybe junior year, and then transferring on for some of you to a four-year school. And so I look at this course preparing you for that. High school's done, where I'm concerned. Your next step is advanced college level, and then your next step is industry where you can compete and do a good job. And that's my basis, that's my general philosophy of how I run a course. So, that being said, even if this video is long, and it probably will be, I expect you to watch every bit of it and to understand what's in it and to ask me questions if you don't. It's not a good idea to email me questions, simple, these little one-line tweets of material that I've covered. That's not going to happen this semester, right? So you're gonna do a good job and come up to the mature, ready level of self-motivation that it's going to take for you to learn a lot of chemistry. But the main thing is not so much the chemistry. So let me stray to another point. I get that. Most of you are never going to use the chemistry. So you might wonder, well, why do I have to take it? Good question. So If the people who design your course know you're probably not going to use the chemistry, then why are you taking chemistry? And the answer is pretty straightforward if you've lived in the real world for much of any time. Almost all of the high-paying jobs, almost all of the jobs where people have high job security, demand problem solving. The world is looking for problem solvers, not people who can memorize things, but problem solvers. There are 3 courses that are notorious for not being able to memorize your way through it, but you have to achieve a certain level of critical thinking, expertise to be able to pass them. And those notorious are chemistry, physics, and calculus. So I don't know if you've ever taken the other 2, but that's why for some people chemistry will come across as particularly hard. The subject matter really is not any harder than A&P or general biology or anything else. What's different is the memory is kept to a minimum, and it's mostly critical thinking that gets you through. And critical thinking is not emphasized near as much as it should be, and so some people find that a struggle. Having said that, please realize it is one of the critical skill sets you need to do really well in life and to compete with other people. You want to be a problem solver in your company and recognized as such. And I'll tell you what that'll mean for you, among other things. You'll get bigger raises than other people, and when layoffs come, you're going to have job security. Because I can tell you as a manager on 3 different continents or over 20 years in industry, the people I never let go were my problem solvers. Because that's what we're paid to do, is solve problems. People pay companies money to solve problems, and the companies that solve the problems need problem solvers. So with that, that's why you want to do well in this class, because if you make an A or B in here, convince yourself, if nobody else, that you can do this problem solving game. You can play it and you can go on to the next level. Okay, so that's why I think you should want to take the class and do well at it. But know, again, that it's going to be run at a kind of mature level. Okay, so let's get into the class itself. I've really broken this down because this is an internet class. This video is made specifically for fall 2023. And because I'm kind of doing this on the fly, there's not going to be a lot of editing. There's going to be a little bit of rambling, okay, because I'm just going to kind of wing it here. But in doing that, I'm going to try to cover everything you need. Now, what do you need? Well, I'm really going to break it down into 2 aspects. There's what I call the mechanics of the class, and then there's the subject matter. So the mechanics are how you get around the website. How do I upload an assignment? Where do I get the instructions for doing things? How do I navigate the website? The mechanics of it. And of course, the subject matter is, the chemistry, right? What kind of reaction is this? Okay, so you can kind of see the 2. The first several days will, of course, focus on the mechanics. And so I want you to get good at the mechanics so that it's second nature, so you can focus on the chemistry. You don't want to be halfway through the semester still trying to figure out how the course is running. You want to get that done like in the next few days so you can focus on the chemistry. You've chosen to take an internet class, and so you have that additional burden, whereas the face-to-face people don't. They're going to show up and they're going to get into the subject matter right away, but that's okay. I just want to let you know that that's what this video will be largely about, is explain to you the mechanics of the class. Okay, so let's look at my screen here, and I'm going to take this from ground zero. The first thing I'm going to do is log into the Blackboard course, and I would advise you to use shortcuts galore, because I can navigate fairly quickly through this. and you can too if you use shortcuts. Okay, this is Chemistry 1305, and now let me put it in student mode. By the way, this is subject to change, and you are really right here with the Watch Me First video. That's last semester's. After this is recorded, it will be there. That's what you're watching. Okay, so what I'm going to do is kind of work through the web page here, and as I come across things that relate to the mechanics or come across things that relate to the subject matter, I'll just take them in no particular order. Okay, so the first thing is it starts you out at the landing page or the welcome here. Real quick there's a course map, and basically you're going to have some orientation material and 1, 2, 3, 4 midterm exams, and there's the chapters on that. And then you're going to take a final exam, which I'm calling Module 5, and you're going to get a course grade from those. So see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're done. Okay, so that's the general overlay. First thing I want to do, the next thing I want to do is show you about what I'm calling the companion website. I have, on my own time, developed a website called DrStephensonChemistry.com. Really, DRS for DrStephensonChemistry.com. And on that web page, I have a 1305 and 1105 course pages. So I'm going to go to the 1305. So you may want to put a shortcut to this too, because there's a ton of resources. As a matter of fact, everything you need to make an A in this class is on that page. If we never met again or talked again, it's on there. And I will tell you from some of the past students who've been really successful, I would ask them, boy, Internet, I've never met you. You've never come to class. How did you make an A? What did you do? They typically answer that question. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, what they said. Okay, so anyway, so I want you to know there is a website. So anytime you see DRS website, this is what it's talking about. Okay, so let's go back. So not to confuse, there's my website, and which is mine. External, it's outside of the Blackboard environment, and then there is the Blackboard environment that Angelina College controls, and that's where all the official documentation goes. Okay, here we go. So it tells you a little bit about the companion website. If you haven't taken an online learning, you're going to want to go to that module and do it. I want you to introduce yourself. Yes, and so there's kind of explicit instructions if you haven't done it, but it's basically going to tell you to go to the discussion board and self-introduction. So I'm going to jump down and do that right now. So if you look, and by the way, just for convenience, I'm going to call this section 1 and that section 2. And from calendars to course evaluation, section 3. Now, Angelina College, those are standard, so I'm not going to put a number on them. The next 2 or I added, and I'm actually going to put a number there, and this is going to be called section 4. That's where all of the subject matter is. And then section 5 are some links that I think you're going to use often, or else they're important enough to put there to the side. So we have 5 sections in our left menu bar there that we're going to work through. Okay, so back to the introduce yourself. It will tell you to go to discussion board, so I'm going to go down to section 2 and click on discussion board. There's all those instructions again, and it's going to tell you to go to self-introduction and create thread, and then you're going to put your name there. Okay. And then you're going to put, it's going to tell you to do a bunch of things, but I'm just going to type something here. Welcome to, okay, there we go. Welcome to chemistry. I'll maybe do something a little more important than that. Okay, submit. So now I've made a submission. So you want to do that. So the thread will have your name there, and everybody can kind of see who you are. And if you would, it tells you to kind of greet a couple of people, make a remark on that. So anyway, that's a nice thing to do. Okay, so meanwhile, that was on the welcome page that was asking you to do that. So let's continue down. Your instructor, a little bit about me for anybody that cares. Here's probably the important thing is the office hours. Okay, so rather than post them for this specific class. If they change, it's hard to do. So I have put those, if you click it, on the Dr. Stephenson web page under the Office Hours tab. That link will take you. This is tentative. I haven't locked in on this, but as of this video making, that's when I plan on my office hours being. You'll know if by the way, if I'm going to miss, I'll post a message here. It goes to all of my classes. So if you're ever wondering about office hours, there. I also have a couple of sections which will be really important for some of you, which deals with tutoring. It tells you about Tutor Me, how to get a Tutor Me tutoring session. And I haven't got it 100% confirmed yet, but last year we had a student who was dedicated. Her primary responsibility was tutoring chemistry students over the web. And so if she's back, this will stay there. If she's not back, this section will disappear, directing you to Darcy, and there will just be the AC tutoring. But anyway, there is face-to-face live tutoring always at the AC Tutoring Center, and there is the online Tutoring Me, which I hear is pretty good. Some people tell me that you can actually find a tutor you like, specifically ask for them, and so you may look that out. A lot of resources there. So anything that needs updating, I will always update the office hours and AC tutoring page. Meanwhile, let's go back to Blackboard and work down. And again, that was on your instructor website. Okay, syllabus and schedule. You've got a syllabus, as you probably know. I don't think this one's active yet because I'm making this before the course has actually officially opened up. But the syllabus is essentially the contract that Angelina has with the students. Okay, let's see. Something you're going to be very interested in is the web calendar. Now, I call it a web calendar because what I've done is I have built an external web page on Google Sheets. And this has every exam, every quiz, everything that you're supposed to do this semester, I hope is on here. Okay, by the way, subject to change. Right, especially at near the first and near the end of the semester. So, in blue is the lab, is the Chemistry 1105. Okay, I've aligned that with Chemistry 1305 as best I can. Some of you are only taking 1305. You only need 3 hours. You're only taking the lecture. If that's the case, don't pay attention to the blue stuff. And by the way, the lab stuff is typically preceded with the word lab. So it's color-coded and it's got the word lab. Yes. This is important for some of you. If you need a 4-hour science and you're only signed up for the lecture, you better go sign up for Chemistry 1105, the lab. 1305, the 3 means it's a 3-hour course. It does not include the lab. I know biology includes the lab, general chemistry includes the lab, physics for science majors includes the lab. Some science classes include the lab and some just the lecture, and you add the lab separately. This is one of those. Okay, for those of you curious, why? But because some majors only require 3 hours and those people don't want to take a stinking lab. So they say, okay, sign up for just the lecture. There's enough of that goes on that we have debundled the lecture and the lab. So if you need a 4-hour, you will be in both of these, and you will need to pay attention to everything. Again, very important that you know this is subject to change, but I think this is probably going to wind up being pretty close right here. So that's something I would definitely bookmark. And I do have a bookmark right there for calendar, fall, internet. Boom. There we go. So that took us back. Okay. So now that you're with that, so what I'm going to do is, told you I'm going to wing it. I'm going to have to skip down and go to this calendar here. I don't want you to confuse this web calendar with the Blackboard calendar. So let me click on this Blackboard calendar. And you will see there's nothing there right now. Okay, see, nothing there. Whoa, why not? Because The Blackboard calendar is something you really want to pay attention to, but nothing shows up on the Blackboard calendar until I give that activity a due date, until I actually assign it. So I haven't assigned these yet because it might change. So what I normally do is assign things like a couple of weeks. So probably by the time you see this video, quizzes 01, 02, these two labs, and probably the first 2 or 3 weeks, they will now be on here. So the good thing about this is, about just looking at the Blackboard or using it as a separate information, you can't see what's coming up, but you can see what's posted and what's actually due. Okay, so so don't confuse those two calendars. The course calendar is meant for you to see everything at a glance, so you can look all the way out to the end of the semester. And again, the Blackboard calendar, everything on that will eventually show up on the Blackboard calendar when it's been actually assigned a due date and says, okay, this is going to be the official date, go do it. Okay, so there we go. So don't confuse those two calendars. Right, okay, so I skipped down from that. Let's see, go back to the schedule. Do I have a schedule page? Yes, okay, so if you get lost in all that, you can always go back to the Dr. Stephenson webpage and go to 1305, and a lot of the material will probably be there too. But the other thing you're going to want to do with respect to schedule is I've broken those out and have a link called schedules. So I have links to the schedules for every course, and you're in this one, 1305 calendar, and boom, it takes you back. So I've got links within the Blackboard environment, and I've got links within the website, which I'm going to call the Dr. Stevenson website, Blackboard and the website. Okay, right. And let's see what else. While I'm here, I might as well show you the final exam schedule. They haven't posted the one for this semester. I will update it. This is, to be determined. Okay. So when the official calendar final exam is posted by Angelina, I will put it here, and then I will extract the data for each active course, and I will actually extract it out of there, and I will type it in a table too, so it'll be very easy and unambiguous when you need to take a test and all of that. So a lot of this busy work is really easy. The regular fall classes, just let's see, I think that is already 23. Yes, okay. So I should change that to 2023. These are updated. These are some of the main 6 days that you're going to need to really be aware of. Of particular is this one here. That is the last day, November 6th, that you can drop with a W. We'll talk a lot more about that later, but that is, whether you know it or not, a very, very important day. That's the last day that you decide, hey, look, I'm not going to take an F in here. I'm just going to withdraw and come back and reload and take it when things are better. Or I've dug myself too deep of a hole. I really want to make a good grade in here. I'm going to drop and come back to it. Okay, that's the first thing. So that's the last day you can do. When November 7 rolls around, there is no dropping. You will receive a grade based on the course formula, in which I will go over here in a little bit. Okay, so anyway, in general, if you go to the schedules, I've actually put some of the 6 key things there. Okay, so again, this website is a good resource. We've gone over schedule, office hours, and you've seen the landing page. A couple of more of these will be important here in a minute. Okay, so now we've worked down 3 of them, still in section 1. Announcements, let's see, I will be sending you out announcements regularly. Per the syllabus, it is required that you look for announcements daily. Most of you, it tags onto your email. I don't know if you need to do that or it does, but if your system is not set up that way, you need to make sure when I send an announcement, it shows up in your email. Because an announcement is just like me assigning something. If I send out an announcement and say, this needs to be due tomorrow, then you need to do it. And it's not an excuse to say, well, I didn't see my emails. Too bad. Too bad. It's like the real world. No, you do. You look and you make sure that you're doing what you need to do. So again, I put it in the syllabus. Looking at your announcements is a required part of this course. It is not recommended. It is required. Okay, so with that, now we know we can communicate effectively. Let's see, course messages. That's just another link I have into announcements. I think it just shows the folders instead of goes straight to announce. Okay, course content. Right, okay, this is a pretty important one here. This course content is where all of the subject matter and a few other key things are located. Okay, so let me go down this one because it's important. The next thing you're going to know is a class sign-up sheet. Really important. You will sign up for a time to take every exam. I will know when you're going to take it, and you will tell me. And we're going to use this sign-up sheet. It is a Google sheet on the internet, and that's how we're going to communicate. And so we're not going to need a lot of emails or anything. So let's click on this link and show you what it's going to look like. Let's see if I can shrink this down. Okay, so there's going to be a website here, and it is going to have green sections for you to respond to. So there's a couple of things I'll just show you right now. There will be something that will come in your announcements. I want to know, first of all, that you can use this, and you're going to tell me about your computer and make sure that you can use Honor Lock. And then later in the semester, I will hide those. And before exam 1, you will sign an honor statement. Much more about that later. You will sign honor statements, basically stating that you're not going to cheat, and you know if you do cheat what the consequences are going to be. But the primary thing here that you're going to do after that is going to be every exam. I will have a date here, and that will fill, it's gray, I will fill that, and you will choose a time. And it's assumed that you're going to do it via Honor Lock, okay? Are you allowed to use the testing center? Yes. But what you will do is, there's a protocol for doing that. You will email me, and you will know it's agreed when I change this to testing center. So if you look on here and you think you're taking it at the testing center and this says Honor Lock, there will not be a test for you waiting at the testing center. They're going to send you away. Okay, so this is kind of serious. If we have any other agreement, I'll put per instructor here. That means we've talked about it separate email. So understand, the default position is you are going to use Honor Lock. Yes, you can use the testing center. You will only know that you have been confirmed once I type testing center there. If you don't see testing center, email me and say, I don't know. I wanted to take it there, and I thought I'd signed up, but apparently not. What's the problem? So, again, a very good communication. You know what I'm thinking, and I know what you're thinking. Okay, so that's the sign-up sheet. And again, that's a Google sheet. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to the course information, policies, and resources. There's a lot in this folder because this is kind of the course rules here. Okay, so let's look down through that. Another link to the companion website, what you know about. Are you signed up for the right course? This explains what I explained earlier about there being a lecture, and a lab. Let's see, a couple of things that I want to mention. Can you take the lab alone? No. The lecture is a co or prerequisite for 1105. The corollary to that is, if I drop the lecture, do I have to drop the lab? The default position is yes, you do, because once you drop that, you no longer have the requisite material. So the requisites, the co-requisites. So look at that very carefully. How's the course going to be determined? I have it all written out here for you in nice legalese, or we can just look at the picture. Okay, so here we go. So your course grade is going to be 60%, those 4 midterm exams, Module 1, 2, 3, 4 grade. Module 5 is your final exam, that's 20%. You're going to have quizzes throughout, that's going to be 10%. And then you're going to have some module quizzes. Those are going to be 10%. If I look at the calendar, you can look and you can see the exams, you can see the module quizzes, and you can see the regular quizzes there. So you can see where those things show up and correspond to this. Okay, what else? Textbooks. Let's continue on down. Textbook information. I have a link to that because I have an extensive discussion of the textbook on the website. The bottom line is all your materials are free in chemistry. They're included with the course. Okay, this one might take a little explaining for because it's free, it resides at different places and different people on it, so let me explain that. First of all, there are 2 main websites that offer the textbook that we're using, which is officially called Introductory Chemistry, and it's by a guy named David Ball, who basically donated it to the public domain, I guess. There's 2 websites you can go through to get PDF downloads of it if you want. And so there is this version of it, so you can download it. For those of you who like to work online, you can click there and you can go to the textbook and read it online. Okay, so really good. And I tell you a little bit about the organization of it and how you do that. So it's all right there. Now, here's the sticky wicket. This course was originally designed based on this book by Zoomdahl. And so all of the information is in this free textbook. This is a for pay textbook. Yes. Okay. So all the information is there in the Ball textbook, but it follows the order of Zoomdahl. I would recommend, but it's not mandatory, I would recommend that you try to get a copy of the Zoomdahl, preferably an old one, because sometimes you can get them really, really cheap. Sometimes you can buy them cheaper than it costs to ship them to you. Okay, so basically what I want you to see, because I've gone through all of these, is that what I'm going to teach and what I think the benefits you would get, you'll get as much out of what I want you to see in the 6th edition as you will, and I think they may be on the 10th or 11th. Of course, the later the edition, the more expensive they get. You guys probably know how to find things on the web better than me. I did find a directtextbook.com, and it will, give you some prices and help you find it. So I don't know. What does the 7th edition go for? I don't know. Let's see. What do they want for this one? There's no telling. Oh my gosh, like this video isn't long. Okay, so there's one for $11, there's one for $11, or you can pay $44. So the prices are all over the place for this. Okay, so if you can get a cheap version, know somebody that's got it. It's not required, it just helps some students. And they've got some pretty good practice problems, at any rate. Okay, so there you go. That's caveat, warning. This is by Zoomdahl DeCoste, and it's called Introductory Chemistry, A Foundation. Zoomdahl wrote several textbooks. Do not get any textbook by Zoomdahl. You will be sorry. They have Advanced Chemistry, General Chemistry. What you want is Zoomdahl DeCoste, Introductory Chemistry, A Foundation. And I've even got pictures of the cover to make sure that you don't mess that up. Okay, for those of you who want that. So that's the textbook. Free is the bottom line. Required technologies, yada, yada, yada. Basically, the real big thing is you got to have Chrome browser, and it's got to have the HonorLock extension, and you must have both a working webcam and a working microphone when you take a test. Test is not accepted unless all of that's valid. If you don't have a microphone on or you don't have a webcam on, then you're not getting credit for that test. Okay? And this is all explicitly stated. Right. Okay, let's see. Okay, required technology, communications, and methods. That's general information, kind of general information, more general information. You can read those. Okay, so let's go back to, so that's in course policies and resources. Okay, course content. Let's go back to the course content. We're through with that folder. Module 0 is one of the first places you're going to go, and that is the 0, basically think about it standing for orientation. So it's going to carry you through a bunch of this information that I'm talking you through on the whole video. Okay, so you're basically getting this orientation now, but that's what Module O is about. And I think I don't have it here, but there will be a orientation quiz that will show up. Okay, and that will be on your task list. Okay, that will show up on Blackboard calendar as well. Okay, so let's see, that's Module 0. So let's go back to course content and Module 1. So this is everything that's on Exam 1. This will kind of give you an overview, and there's your Chapter 1 stuff, and Chapter 2, and Chapter 3, and Chapter 4. And then the Exam 1, once I post it, it will be within this section. Okay. I guess now's as good a time as any to go into one of the most important subjects. And that is exam information, instructions, and cheating. Okay, so if you click on that link, I have a separate tab called Exam Information. There is a bunch of stuff on here, and you better know every bit of it. Here's why. It will tell you how to sign up for an exam. It will tell you all about Honor Lock. It walks you through. It will tell you how class work. It will tell you there's no handheld calculator. It will tell you what you can and cannot do. If you do a cannot do action, that is called cheating, and you're probably going you'll be lucky if you just get a 0 on an exam. Normally, I take people out of the entire course for cheating, for consciously and knowingly cheating on an exam. So you're going to want to really read this part about forbidden items. Okay, so let me walk through it, and then we'll talk a little bit about cheating. Okay, how to get Honor Lock. You come to Section 5. By the way, I've got shortcuts to all this stuff. And this will tell you basically how you get the Chrome extension, how you add it. Again, it says you need a microphone and webcam and all of this stuff. So I'll walk you through, kind of spell it out what you do. Again, lots of mechanics to getting going on internet. When you take a test, you are going to use an online calculator, and you are going to be given a cheat sheet online. Nothing else. I'm going to give you a cheat sheet, and you're going to use an online calculator. You're not going to use a phone calculator. You're not going to use a handheld calculator. So I'm not going to be seeing you looking around saying, hey, that's a calculator. No, it's not, because you're using an online calculator. Okay, I will show you those in a minute. So this is just one, and I'm kind of getting to it here because it's kind of important. I would go ahead when I took an exam and open up all 3 tabs. Blackboard is going to be the test. Open up a cheat sheet. Open up your cheat sheet tab. Open up your calculator tab, and then you won't lose your way. Sometimes if you go looking for these after a test is started and you click a wrong link, Honor Lock will kick you out or lock it up because it thinks you're trying to cheat. So I highly advise you to open these 2 tabs. I set a trigger that gives you permission to use those. So right quick, let me go to the website and show you what those look like. The Intro Chem cheat sheet looks like this. I would bookmark that, right? Because you get this on every test. And I'll also tell you some of what you're not going to get that you better have in your head. There's not much memory. This is like the memory for the entire semester. That is not much. Okay, but, so this is the periodic chart you will use. Yes, no others. That's it. I'm going to give you some formulas. So if you see a formula that's on here, you don't have to memorize it, but you do need to know it's there. Okay, we're going to do Lewis dot structures. I have a little cascade that will help you work through that process. And then you'll have to know some solubility stuff. I'm going to give you a solubility table. Okay, there we go. So when you're working practice problems and those sorts of things, I would highly advise you to always use the exam cheat sheet, so you are intimately familiar with what's on here, and so you can navigate it very, very quickly. So you need to do a calculation, yes? So you will also be allowed to use this online calculator. It's called a Desmos calculator, and you really need to learn how to use this thing, because this is the only calculator you will be allowed. By the way, use of an online calculator is a soft skill for this course. Okay, it's something I want you to do, because when you take standardized tests, and many of you will, over half of the standardized tests I understand in the United States use Desmos calculators. So the first time you ever use an online calculator doesn't need to be when you're taking a very, very critical test for your future. You need to know how to use an online calculator before then. So it is going to be Desmos, and it will be that link. Yes, you're going to use this very calculator. I would bookmark that. If you don't know where it's at the bottom of most sheets, you can go to your landing page and scroll down, and your online calculator is always there. And you go to the landing page, and your cheat sheet is always there. Not the Gen Chem, that cheat sheet. Okay, so with that, I've got a lot of tabs open. Close all tabs to right. Let's clean that up and go back here. Okay, so we were talking about exams and what you're going to be given. So let's go back to this page. And now that you know what those two tabs are about, if something goes wrong during honor lock, I'll tell you what to do. If you want to use the testing center, they have a form that you have to fill out. You using the testing center requires coordination. You've got to sign up with the testing center. Then you have to let me know that you signed up for the testing center. And before you do that, you need to let me know you're going to do it. So you email me and say, I'm going to the testing center. You go to the testing center, make an appointment, and then you send your appointment details to me. So it's kind of a triangle. Okay. So, and don't get confused. It's all right there, just laid out. You just need to know, if you don't make I don't make the appointment in the testing center, you do it using their form. Okay, and let's see if I have that on there. Maybe it's just instructions on how to do it. Maybe I've got a link somewhere else, I would imagine, to the testing center. Okay. Right. Let's see, scratch paper. Yes, you get to use scratch paper. So that's the only thing you're allowed on the exam. Everything else is online. You're allowed pencil or pen and scratch paper. And there's rules for doing that. Here's the deal. Within 15 minutes after completing an exam, you have to email me a copy of every scratch page you used. Okay, so there'll be more details fleshed out on that, but you got to get that, preferably immediately, but no more than 15 minutes, because that's a serious violation. See, when you see that, it means pay really attention. Okay, exam integrity. Notice I have 3 sections on exam integrity. So let's take this. Some of that is repeated above. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what you better not do and what you must do and what the possible penalties are. So we're crystal clear on this. I have put Angelina College's expectations and possible penalties for those. So these are extracted out of the student manual, out of the handbook. So I want to make it understood that everybody that takes my course, I've extracted it so they can see, no excuse. I didn't know cheating was wrong. Yeah, 1, you do. But 2, not only do I'm telling you what the penalties are going to be for cheating, I'm pretty much spelling it out. The last one, have a lot of cheating. Doesn't work out well for students. Okay. Better read this. I take a hard line. Yeah, I know all teachers say that. Okay. I take a hard line. I review every honor lock exam from every student. I spend about 20 to 25% of all of my course effort reviewing exams and working on student integrity. Okay? Last year, not to scare you, but last year, I think I prosecuted 6, maybe 7 students. A few were lucky enough to drop, but that loophole's been closed. If I suspect you cheating and I call you down on it, we now have an agreement with the registrar that you cannot drop the course if you're under investigation, which means if you're found guilty, you will probably get an F in my course, and that will go on your transcript. So there's no, I'll do it, and if I get caught, I'll just drop. It's not going to happen anymore. But that was only like 3 or 4 of the students. The other ones got an F, and I think one of them actually wound up losing a scholarship. So I go full bore at this. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to catch you, but I'm going to catch you, and I will be diligent at it. So the thing is just to relax and be honest. Now, don't worry if you do one thing and you think, oh my gosh, he's going to think I'm cheating. It's not going to be one question. I'm going to have unequivocal proof that you cheated. And it won't be on one question. It's going to be pretty clear. It's going to be enough so that when I make my case to Angelina College committees, they're going to know it's true. Okay? So the deal is a couple of things. Just relax and be honest. But if you cheat, know that you're going to get caught. You're not going to be allowed to get away with a drop. And, I'm telling you now. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm telling you now. Look, I seek out and prosecute cheaters. I'm telling you now. I don't care if you've got away with every other class. Look, I'm belaboring the point, I know, because that's 7 students that really messed them up because they thought they were going to come and get away with cheating. And some of them said, well, I got away with cheating in other classes. Okay, well, I told you don't do it here, so I'm telling you now. Here's the other thing. There is no statute of limitations cheating in my course. What this means is if it's the last day of class and I review exam 1 and see you're cheating, you're gone. So if you get mine with cheating on an exam, don't think until the semester's totally closed out and you've got your grade from Angelina that you're in the clear. And I put heavy reviews toward the end of the semester. Okay, so I'll just tell you, 2 of the people, I got them in between exam 4 and the final exam. So they spent all semester before I busted them. So just be honest. It's just not worth it to wreck your transcript, or worse, to get something put in your academic record over an intro chemistry class. So if you're going to cheat, don't drop. Don't. If you think I'm going to take this class, it's okay, I'll cheat my way through it. Don't take it. You need to drop. You need to drop now because it's not going to happen. Okay, but if you're actually into the college thing and you're wanting to learn something, this is the class you need to be. Enough on that. Okay, here we go. Right, so we were at course content and we went through the modules, final exam. We're not going to do a group project this time, so we won't need teamwork evaluations, and that's it for the course content. Sometimes we will meet live. A lot of people use Collaborate. I'm going to have a link on here that says Google Meet. And I normally meet through Google Meet. So I'll send you all links to this. If we're going to meet as a class individually, I'll send you the link. And we will meet through Google Meet most likely. Although I don't rule out needing to use Collaborate. Discussion board, we've talked about that. Thank you for doing that. Groups probably won't be relevant for us this semester. As I say, we're not going to do a group project, subject to change. Yes. Calendar, I've already talked about the Blackboard calendar. Things show up here after I post a due date, and they're like locked in stone at that point. Mostly locked in stone. Okay, my grades, that's where you go, and all of the stuff that I post in the grade book shows up here for you. Sometimes things squirrely show up because I'm doing things with the grade book to help myself, and it shows up on yours. So if something really squirrely shows up, email me, ask me, okay, and we'll get it straight. Let's see, student resources. Again, okay, so these 4 tabs here are Angelina College puts those on there. So this is standard Angelina College fare, the things that they want you to know that. The Tutor Me, I haven't got a whole lot of feedback from that, but some students use it. I think most don't, but I'm told, that it's a good resource. So course evaluation, you can write at the end of the semester and tell everybody this will open up. You can tell everybody what a horrible instructor I am. Okay. How mean I am. Right. Coursework. Now you've noticed in course content, the modules 1, 2, 3, 4 for what you're going to do are kind of buried in this tab. Okay, so in section 4, all I've done is I've just kind of unburied them so you can go through them in one click. So there's module 1, there's all the module 2. So I've kind of taken the module stuff out and I put it in the side for easy access. And then we've seen all of these before, but again, let's go over one more time. So there's my website, there's the calendar, the web calendar. There's a link to the sign-up sheet. Your name will be there. There's the web page in case you forget where that's at. And then there's the Google Meet in case we want to meet. Okay, we have now worked through, I think, about everything you need to know about that section. Let's see. Gosh, I can't think of what I'm missing. One thing that will be added, let me go back to the testing. This just came up yesterday in a meeting. Angelina has changed their policies a bit. So in the exam info, we're now required you to sign a consent form that basically says the webcam and the audio, and there's going to be a 360 room scan. Okay, I think they're a very limited value, but it's not my call. There'll be a 360 room scan that you have to be able to do before every exam, and you give permission for that to come through the honor lock system into us. Well, that's a big invasion of my privacy. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, first of all, you're taking an online class. But if for whatever reason you decide that you do not want to take your exams online, that's okay, so long as you can get to an Angelina College testing center. And you're welcome to take every exam at the testing center. And you can contact me, but basically it's kind of the process I went over before. You ask me, you go to the testing center, you make an appointment, and then you send me back that information, and then I go to the sign-up sheet, and this student right here did all of that, and they look and they say, okay, good, golden, I'm ready to go to the testing center. Okay, so I will change that to testing center once on. You have a right to not sign the honor lock agreement. But what that means is honor lock's not available to you. So you will be using the testing center. As an aside, I always typically have 1 or 2 students that just don't like online exams. They take the online course and they choose to go to the testing center and take all of their exams. And that does away with a bunch of this stuff, right? Okay, so you are welcome to do that. Just go here and go to the testing center and that. So there will be a consent form that's going to show up that's not in this video because I haven't had time to do that yet. Okay. Wow. Well, I think that's it. It's kind of long and drawn out, but that's pretty tedious. Let me go to one of these modules and show you what this might look like. There's module 1. Okay, so let's say exam 1 has chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when you go to chapter 4, you're going to have a reference to some videos and the textbook and some other information. Okay, so this is about what I wanted to show you for Blackboard. Now what I want to do in the few moments that I'm going to take that remain is to go to your home page, your course page, and go over this. As I told you, everything you need. So now we assume you can do the mechanics. Okay. So now I'm getting into, okay, fine, I can do all that stuff. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to nail it. But what exactly do I need to do? What am I going to nail? Glad you asked. Right. So let me show you the resources that you have for this page, for this course, which are extensive. You already know about the calendars and schedules. We've gone through that, but there's a link to that if you need it. This is it right here, the resources page. Wow, there's 4 things that are available to you. Number 1 is a bunch of videos. This course, I had time to break every little section out in a kind of a video that's typically less than 10 minutes. All of the videos live within the YouTube environment at the bottom of most every page. Okay. So I have a DrStephensonChemistry website that I have posted a ton of videos. Yes. I have also organized them in playlists so that all of the videos you need to be successful in exam 1.
You have to stay stuck in the pentatonic box playing the same solos over and over.
Oh, really? Okay, so no thanks. There we go. So there's the playlist. There's all of the videos, and some of these are pretty short, you can see, in bite-sized pieces for exam 1. Okay, and then there's the main landing page for playlist. So you're shown in blue, your course. So there's everything you need for exam 1 and exam 2 and exam 3 and exam 4. Yeah, maybe we're going to need that too. So there's other courses on here, so don't get lost. But these 4 playlists are what's shown here, so you know. So those are direct links. Okay, so you've got videos of everything. Those videos use the same content that I use to teach my face-to-face lab. So you're getting the same information. Right, lecture notes. If you want to know what the course looks like, I posted lecture notes for an old course. So for example, when you get to chapter 4 again, this is what I show my class, and I've even got it kind of boogered up here. So not that it doesn't have a script with it, but if you're curious after watching the videos, you can look and kind of see what we talk about in class. And oh my gosh, you can even see where I probably worked out some sample problems. So if nothing else, you may look through this and see, oh, wow, there's a neat diagram. I like that. Okay, let's see. And you can even see when I did it and where we stopped for the day. And you can, if nothing else, you can see what was emphasized. Because, of course, in a classroom setting, you're going to emphasize, the most important things. So, perchance you're interested, I not only have videos on everything, but I have the course lecture notes, as well as final exam review notes for 2 semesters there. Okay, so let's say, well, I want even more. All right, so here's PowerPoint slides, and these line up with the Zoomed-All textbook. So if you don't do the Zoomed-All textbook, you might want to look at these PowerPoint slides. So I just downloaded one on another screen, and let me pull one of those up, and this happens to be chapter 5. Okay, I'm going to load PowerPoint here in just a second, and just kind of show you what that looks like. Okay. So this would be chapter 5, and this was just downloaded by clicking that link. And this kind of shows you some of the highlights from the textbook. Okay, so if you don't have the textbook or you don't like to read a lot of sentences and paragraphs, all that wordy stuff, picture type of guy. Okay, so here we go. So here's the kind of, if you will, the Cliff's Notes for the textbooks and kind of what they have. So you've got those. And this is probably the least important, but way back when I started teaching, I used to do this fill in the blank thing. These used to be questions with blanks to where as students were in class, they could kind of see if they could figure out what the answers were to try to keep them awake from falling to sleep, right? Okay, but these turn out to be, a lot of them turn out to be important, at least general topics, important statements. A lot of this information finds its way in one way or another onto the test. And so some people actually found it useful to just look over these. So everything that's underlined was basically the answer to some statement or some question. Okay, you could see where they would be made questions. For those of you who want to use those, not a great resource, but it's there at any rate if you want. So bottom line is, you've got playlists for everything. You can match the playlist up with the lecture notes if you want. There's PowerPoint slides for the textbooks that you weren't able to buy or it was too expensive. There we go. And then you've got some of the fill-in-the-blank handbooks that hit some of the high points. Okay, I told you I would tell you about some of my interviews. And like I would say, how did you make an A? And the answer I normally get is this. It always winds up as one of the top two. One guy who did really, really well. How did you do it? Because he had like 2 jobs, one of these, right? 2 jobs, the family and everything. Pardon me. And he still winds up making an A. He just said, Doc, I live and die by the videos. I would watch the videos and I would make sure I understood everything you said in the video. And I would go do practice problems from the book. I would do practice problems, but it's just like basically, I just used your videos. And that defined what I needed to know. And if you worked a problem and I didn't know how to do it from just watching the video, then I would go back and work practice problems till I got it. So there we go. Other people have said other things, but always watching and understanding the videos is almost in everybody's top 2. So there you have it. Watch the videos and practice, practice, practice. It's like in sports. You're just going to get better at it. And the better you are at critical thinking, the less that you're going to have practice. The least, if your skill set is not good at critical thinking, then you'll have to practice more. Okay, well, that's how things work out. Okay, so those are your resources for 1305 textbook blog page. I do have a blog page for 1305. I don't have a whole lot on it. I kind of add it as I go, but there's a few things for exam 1 and a few things for exam 2 that people have asked. And well, I had more on exam 2 than I thought. Okay, and there's some exam tripwires. Okay, right, tripwires, what people. So exam 3 didn't have much, and apparently exam 4 and exam 5, either students didn't ask a lot of questions or whatever. So the blog is always kind of a work in progress. Yep, okay. And sometimes a student will ask a question, and I'll just post it up here so if nothing else, people can see what other people are asking about. Right, so let's see what else we have on the resource page. Go back to 1305. Course map, you've already seen that. Again, how to get installed honor lock. There's all of the playlist. Yes, okay, practice, practice, practice. How do you find practice problems? This last section, see, I made a whole video on it. And so I'm going to show you how to use that textbook and find good practice problems. And you should practice. That's going to be your key. Videos and practice. This will also, by the way, not only going to know how to get the practice problems, it's going to get you familiar with navigating around the textbook. If you buy the secondary, if you find an old copy of Zumdahl DeCoste, Introductory Chemistry, a Foundation, that particular book, if you find it, it has a ton of practice problems in chapter and at the end of the chapter, and you can try those, look at those as well. So your key is the videos and practice problems. That's why I've extracted them out, and they each have their own sections. How to study for your exam. Might want to read that. Might want to look over that. Okay, before the end of the semester. It'll just kind of give you the ebb and flow of what works best for most people. Right. Okay. Boy, is that a lot of downer information, but some of it, I hope, helps you that you can get off to a good fast start, get the mechanics behind you, and get into the chemistry and just dig into the videos and practice the problems and, ace the exams. That's what we would like. Right. Okay. So with that, I will close this out. And again, welcome you to the class. Apologies if some of the hard statements made here have scared some of you. I don't mean to scare you. I just want you to know what this course is about and what you can expect. And, I get a bunch of good feedback on the class. There's just a lot of high-performing students that have gone on, and they've got their 4-year degrees, and a lot of them have come back, and they said, man, that your course really helped kind of set me on a college mindset. I kind of got what it was about. And so I think some of you are going to get something very, very valuable out of the class, and that's really what I'm hoping. So with that, welcome to Chemistry 1305. If you're taking the lab, it doesn't work a whole lot different from this. So email me if you have any specific questions about the lab. I may cut a short video for the lab, I don't know, and talk about things in excess to this. But that's something for another time. At any rate, again, welcome to Chemistry 1305, and we'll see you in class.